Since Sony released the patch giving us the ability to expand the internal storage capacity of the PS5 without having to use an external hard drive, there's been a lot of discussion around which is the best SSD to buy right now. Expanding the storage capacity of the PS5 via the SSD expansion bay gives us the ability to run games directly from the SSD, unlike an external hard drive, and without any drop in performance. So in today's video, I'll explain what Sony's requirements are for the SSD expansion, which SSD I decided to purchase and why, how much I paid, and then finally we'll go through the very straightforward installation process. So looking at Sony's official requirements, here are the key specifications that your new SSD will require. The SSD you buy needs to have a PCIe Gen 4 interface, a 250GB to 4TB capacity, 5500 MB per second read speed or faster, a 22mm width, and then a heatsink which is either built into the SSD or a do-it-yourself heatsink. So I decided to go with the Sabrent Rocket for 1TB with the included heatsink. The first reason is that the performance of this SSD is absolutely amazing. It provides speeds that easily meet Sony's requirements and certainly holds its own when combined with the other more expensive SSDs that are available right now. And yes, whilst on paper there are definitely faster SSDs available, no doubt about it, however the difference really is unnoticeable. Now the second reason is that when we compare value to price, you can't beat the Sabrent Rocket 4. I paid £160 including the heatsink, which is approximately $218, and that currently provides the best storage to price rate over any other SSD that is available right now. Finally, the Sabrent Rocket 4 I believe is the only SSD that comes with a custom designed heatsink at this time, which replaces the original PS5 bay cover completely and in my opinion looks great. So this also means that the heatsink can disperse heat away from the entire bay rather than the heatsink attached to the SSD, which is then covered by the standard SSD bay cover. Testing has also confirmed that the custom heatsink bay cover does a better job of cooling than a traditional heatsink. Sabrent have even listed the heatsink to purchase separately so you can use it with another SSD if you wish. This really is an all-in-one solution, the best value for money and one I would definitely recommend if you're currently looking for an SSD. So the installation process is very straightforward. You'll first need to remove the side plate of the PS5, and this is on the right hand side if you're looking at the PS5 from straight on. To remove the plate, push down on the bottom of the plate and use your other hand to push the top in the same direction and it should slide off with ease. Once you've removed the side plate, you'll need to then remove the screw that is holding in the SSD bay cover. We now need to remove the SSD fixing screw along with the mount underneath. Put that to one side as we will need it later. With the cover removed, we can now insert the SSD into its slot. You'll need to lift the SSD slightly higher than the bottom of the bay and it should just fit right in. Once you've inserted the SSD, we can now screw it to the board using the screw and mount we removed earlier, and make sure to put the mount underneath the screw hole and then tighten the screw. With the SSD installed, we now want to replace the cover with our custom PS5 heatsink. And this is really just a case of placing it where the bay cover previously was and then screwing it down using the same screw, and that's it, job done. So let's take a look at the console now. As soon as we start up the PS5, we get a message just letting us know that the PS5 has recognised our new SSD and that we need to format the SSD before we can use it. Once that's all complete, we are good to go. So overall, I've got to say I'm really happy with the Sabrent Rocket 4, and as mentioned, definitely one I would recommend if you are looking. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments which SSD you'll be buying, if any at all. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one.